Today I'm going to show you the cause of your duck feet and how to fix them. Blake here, GuerrillaZen Fitness. Duck feet is a common phrase used to describe feet turning out during standing, walking, or running. This is not biomechanically optimal. For the most part, we want the toes oriented forwards while we're standing, while we're walking, while we are running. Now, in some people, this is a structural thing that just can't really be fixed. However, in most people, this is due to mobility restrictions, and that's what I'm going to be focusing on today. These mobility problems typically affect the ankles, the tibia, or the femur, the leg bone. If your ankle is stiff and you're missing dorsiflexion in the ankle, how you'll know if you're missing this or not is doing the classic ankle mobility wall test. Face the wall, put your fist down against the floor, measure one fist's width away from the wall, put your big toe where your fist is, stand up, and basically try to drive the knee forward in front of the toes to touch the wall with your knee. All right, if you can't touch that wall with your knee without lifting the heel off the ground, okay, the heel has to stay on the ground. If you keeping the heel on the ground, if you can't touch the wall with your knee, you are probably missing ankle dorsiflexion. And that's something that's really important to work on, because duck feet, this turning out of the foot, that's a common compensation associated with missing dorsiflexion, the ability for you to pull the toes up towards the shin. Luckily, this is something that you can work on and improve in a variety of different ways. I've made a lot of videos about this in the past. One of the most simple mobility drills that you can do for your ankle on a recurring basis is similar to the way we tested it. All right, put your toe about a fist width away from the wall, keep your heel planted on the ground, and drive that knee forwards until the knee touches the wall, keeping the heel planted the whole time. Motion is lotion. Just by hinging at the ankle joint here, you're improving the range of motion at the joint over time, getting synovial fluid in there, and just basically increasing the capacity of that joint to move. So that's something that if you have stiff ankles on one side or both sides, is correlated with your duck feet. Give this a shot. 2 sets, 15 reps, either on just the side that's stiff, according to your test, or on both sides, okay? If you're looking for something a little bit more advanced than this to do, and if your ankles are really stiff, you might want to pair these two things together. The next thing that I'll show you here is what's called a wall squat, all right? This is a little bit different, but it's still mainly focused on the ankles. Basically, back everything up against the wall, okay? You want to stand with your heels against the wall. You want to stand with your back against the wall. The idea here is we're going to slide down the wall, keeping everything in contact with the wall, driving the knees forwards in front of the toes, keeping the heels planted on the ground, okay? Everything backed up against the wall. It'll look like this, right? This looks very simple, and it is, but this is a powerful ankle mobility drill, okay? We're making most of that motion occur at the ankle joint with this, and we're taking that ankle into dorsiflexion. At the same time, we are working the dorsiflexor muscles of the ankle. You should feel a nice burn in the anterior tibialis, this muscle right there. As you're doing this, this thing should really light on fire. This is really weak in people that have ankle mobility issues. So, like I said, depending on how stiff your ankles actually are, I like to do that basic ankle mobility drill against the wall, and I'll stack that with, usually 2 sets of this, 2 sets, 15 repetitions. Now, another common cause of duck feet on both sides or on one side is missing tibial internal rotation. Basically, the capacity of the shin bone to internally rotate, that might be missing. A lot of people fundamentally misunderstand the knee joint. The knee joint is primarily an extension and a flexion joint. However, it does have a twisting, rotational capacity as well. All right, the tibia, the shin bone, should be able to internally rotate and externally rotate, like this, okay? And it's very common for people to have missing tibial internal rotation. The tibia should be able to internally rotate somewhere between 20 and 30 degrees, all right, like this. One way that I oftentimes get my clients to assess their tibial rotation is I have them sit on the wall like this, put their hands, their fingertips on their shin bone, beneath the kneecap like this, okay? Have them pull the toes up towards the shin, and I just have them do this a couple times. Rotating just from the shin bone, not doing this with the knees or the leg bone, okay? Just do this a couple times, and you should feel that bone rotating here. That way you know if you are rotating from the tibia or not. A lot of people, they want to do this with their knees, or they just want to flop their ankle around like this. And their shin bone actually stays stiff the whole time, okay? So pull the toes up towards the shin. That kind of locks down the ankle. Make sure that the knees don't move. Toes pulled up towards the shin the whole time, knees don't move. Then you're doing this, okay? And then you should be able to feel that bone twisting, okay? That's just what it feels like to actually be able to move your tibias and twist them, okay? One thing that you can do to assess yourself, get in this position, get squared up, get symmetrical, pull the toes up, externally rotate like this, look at the capacity that you have to do that, and then look at your capacity to internally rotate. Pull the toes up the whole time here and try to bring the legs in. Oftentimes what you'll find is that one side, usually the side that has the duck-footedness, if this is caused by tibial rotation problems, you'll find that that one can't turn in quite as much as the other one can. So you might, this one was stiff and missing internal rotation. When I try to internally rotate it, it might look like this or something like that, okay? Effectively, if you have a hard time twisting this thing in, all right, like I said, to approximately 20 to 30 degrees, then you might be missing tibial internal rotation there. The body always takes the path of least resistance, all right? If your shin bone has a very easy capacity to externally rotate, but it runs into a restricted capacity with regards to its ability to internally rotate, by default, when you're standing, when you're walking, when you're running, it's always going to take that path of least resistance, externally rotate, okay? And then you're going to be walking around like this, okay? So a common thing going on here is missing tibial internal rotation. What can you do about that? One thing that I like to do about it is 10 gentle reps of a tibial mobilization, okay? Motion is lotion. If this bone really does not like to twist in, one way that we can help it twist in is just by grabbing it and twisting it in, okay? So with this, I don't do a lot of these. I do these very gentle, but I'll grab the lower tibia with my hand firmly. Okay, I'll use this leg as a demonstration. I'll kind of put my knee in a headlock. I'll grab this leg bone firmly, and then I will twist like this. Twist it in 10 times, okay? I'm trying to just produce motion in this bone, trying to get it to rotate in. There's not a whole lot of mobility that you should have here, all right? 20 to 30 degrees is not a ton. Really don't crank on this hard. Be very gentle with it. Do this 10 times. All right, gently. We're just trying to teach the body how to rotate this bone internally again, okay? So that's a way that you can actually mobilize that bone and restore some of that missing internal rotation that you might have there. Now, if doing that for a period of time helps, you might also want to think about strengthening those tibial internal rotators. All you need for that is a band, all right? Basically, the way that I like to do this, wrap the band around the foot like this, and basically pull the band off to the side. What that's doing, that's externally rotating my tibia. And then I'm using the tibial internal rotators to internally rotate like this. It's a little bit easier with the shoe on, it won't slide down your foot. But now you're doing some more of these like active tibial internal rotations, all right? And yeah, this can be a great thing to stack with that gentle little mobilization that I showed you earlier. Okay, if that helps, you've done that for a little bit, you notice that it's helping things. Try strengthening some of those internal rotator muscles, all right? By doing this. This is something I don't like to do a lot of, maybe like one set of 20, immediately following 10 of those gentle, tibial mobility drills that I just showed you a second ago. The last one, which I commonly see with my online coaching clients, perhaps one of the most common things, is missing hip internal rotation. Now, the hip is very similar in concept here to the tibia. All right, a lot of people, especially men, they have a lot of external rotational capacity at the hip. They can turn their femur out like that very easily, okay? And they are missing internal rotation, okay? Very common mobility restriction we see in the hips, like I said, especially in men. But the same idea is present here that was present with the tibia that I talked about. All right, your body always takes the path of least resistance. If weight upstream from the feet, up at the hips, you have a lot of capacity to externally rotate, but your hips are stiff and they can't internally rotate, okay? In order to go from that duck foot position to a more neutral position here, that requires you to internally rotate the hips. If you're stiff at the hips, the body will not allow you to do that. It's going to take the path of least resistance and externally rotate. What we want to see here is about 45 degrees of external rotation and about 40 degrees of internal rotation. All right. I've made videos about how you can assess this in the past, and I've also showed many different mobilizations for the hips to restore internal rotation. Okay. So instead of me showing you a bunch of different exercises, because I've made a lot of videos about this in recent years, I'm going to link all those in the description down below. So if you think you have stiff hips, missing internal rotation, open up the description, check out those other videos that I'll link to. But you want to have about what's considered optimal is about 45 degrees of external rotation, about 40 degrees of internal rotation. So slightly less than you have the capacity to externally rotate, but most people are way shy of that 40 degrees of internal rotation. Like I said, I've made many videos about this, especially within recent years, lots more advanced techniques and things like that. So if what I'm going to show you right now is too easy for you, you've already been doing something like this, check out those more advanced mobility drills. I have some pretty intense advanced mobility techniques in there like pails and rails, which can really help with this. That is down below in the description. But one basic thing that you could do if you think you have missing hip internal rotation is a very basic internal rotation exercise with a foam roller. All right, pinch a foam roller with your knees, all right, like this. Basically just hold that there, and then all you're gonna do is lift that ankle up, all right? What you're doing is you're twisting that femur into internal rotation, all right? So motion is lotion. A lot of people just don't internally rotate at the hip, and that's why they've lost mobility there. So this is something that's pretty powerful for the average person. It helps to mobilize the hip, restore internal rotation, and kind of strengthen the internal rotators at the same time. 2 sets, 15 reps of that on both sides, or whatever side is missing internal rotation. If it is both sides, and do that on both sides. Again, if you're looking for something more advanced, something way more hardcore than this, or just more things that complement movements like that, open up that description down below and check out those other videos that I made there on hip internal rotation. I really hope that you enjoyed this video today and you found this information valuable. If you want to work with me one-on-one as your coach, have me design a plan for you, custom built for you to help iron out your muscle imbalances, mobility issues, postural misalignments, muscle imbalances, so on and so forth, open up the description beneath this video, click coaching, and that will take you over to my coaching page where you can see what I do, see my clients, the results I've gotten, so on and so forth. If you're looking for a free workout that actually helps you correct your muscle imbalances, improve your posture, improve your flexibility and your mobility, addressing some of the most common things that we see going on, if you want to do that while getting stronger and leaner, open up the comments down below and I'm going to stick a link to that free workout that I've made. I'll pin it to the comment section so it'll be at the top there. Other than that, let me know what you want me to make videos on in the future. I'm a lot more active here on YouTube nowadays for the year of 2024, so stick any good content ideas in the comments down below. I'll take a look at that, and that's it for today. I'll see you next time.